Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome to Higurashi When They Cry. It's been a while, I've said I'm going to do it, and it is now October, and we are going to get started. And I would like to mention to everyone that I have played through a few-ish hours of this. The last major things I remember was there was the first kind of frightening scene that happened in like a junkyard, I think. And then I remember some sort of like hide-and-seek-esque thing or something. And to be perfectly honest, I don't remember a ton about either of those things, so it'll still be kind of me picking it up. And hopefully it'll be fun. Oh yeah, also I do remember there's points where there's like very strangely worded. Oh, it's Bern Castell! Do not lament. I'll forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Do not lament, I'll forgive you even if the world will not forgive. Even if you will not forgive the world. So tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? I do remember there being some, like, strange, like, weird things that I'm probably going to attempt not to read. Am I hearing squishy throat-cutting neck noises? I was going to be ripped apart anyways. Having my body ripped apart would have been far better. I trusted her. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly sobbing voice, and those tears making a mess of my face. That mechanical repetitious sound finally stilled, and everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cicadas remained, annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She's no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there was none to show. She had no tears to shed for me, then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. Then why? This pain, my eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Inside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that, I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me? I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright just to take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind with her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. The kindness made me happy. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. It's a very squishy noise. When I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. Perhaps I really did love you. A nice cryptic start to our story. So, before we get started, a couple ground rules. I never laid these down last time when we got started because I never really thought about the kind of following I'd get or really much about this. But any spoilers people have, please use Rot13. You can go to www.rot13.com or simply Google it. It gives you a very easy tool to encrypt text and decrypt text. So any spoilers you'd like to use, please use that. I have played through the entirety of Umineko, and so I know about the story from that, and I know a lot of you guys know the story from that as well, but I would appreciate any spoilers directly relating to Umineko that, I know there's a couple characters, including, I think, Burnt Castell and maybe a few more, that go between the series, but they are largely disconnected stories. Anything that would spoil Umineko, if you would, try to encrypt that as well, just to keep anybody who hasn't seen it from getting spoiled on that. I would greatly appreciate that. Same rules as before. Anything that happens by the end of the episode, you're free to talk about, but anything that wasn't discussed by the end of the episode, don't talk about. So people who are avoiding spoilers can wait until the end of the episode before looking at the comments, and they won't get spoiled. Anything that happens, obviously, after the episode, like in future episodes, don't talk about until the future episodes. I'd appreciate that, guys. Sorry about the little aside here, and we are going to continue. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I'd last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony of the crosswalk, even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. There's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, and the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to instill a sense of serenity. There's nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints. There aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town is some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. But come to think of it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice cream parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I'd lived in the city for 10 years, and had never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody is still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so I just forgave her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a bit annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. It's not like, whatever cryptic things were happening in the beginning are irreparable. She's still apologizing even now. Then, has she really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey, you! The one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Kiichi, we're almost there. Or Kiichi? Not sure on that. Wake up! I was finally roused from my happy nap by my father's prodding. It seemed that the train had reached its final stop. We'd spent hours riding everything from the bullet train to the local routes. It was hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window in the city I was in half a day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road had suddenly opened up. I think they do this kind of thing where they take, I'm not super familiar with, like, visual novel background techniques, but it's always kind of looked to me like I think they take a real picture, and then they use some kind of, Photoshop or otherwise tool to kind of blur it in and make it almost more cartoony and less descript. There, where I live now, Hinamizawa. I'd also like to give special thanks. I can't remember the name because I think I got this like 2 years ago or something, but somebody gifted this to me on Steam. You know who you are, hopefully. I apologize. I could look it up, but it would take me a while, so I'm not going to at the moment. Maybe I will at some other time, but again, thanks for gifting me this game. I do appreciate it. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although, in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flipping open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side. So I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. Quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there. My father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. It's such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep when you want, and work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. My mom was such a good cook, it was scary. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. I don't know about that raw egg, but unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, Mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. This music's very uplifting and exciting. I'm so happy you've been waking up early ever since we moved here, Keiichi. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. Thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice? Or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Between bites of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Not bad at all. Excellent, as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right until the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning. That was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that's what you would call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Rena-chan? Hurry, hurry. Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Rena is one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people, coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But, well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Rena wait there for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Rena-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning. So, this is Rena-chan. Now, just a little aside as well, this is the Steam version of the game. Came out on Steam, I want to say like 2 years ago, because that's when I saw my last save for the game was. I think it was in like 2015. So, it's about 2 years ago. I don't know how long it's been out before then, but I do know that it had the same thing with Umineko, because I played Umineko with the PS3 sprites, which looked comparably, and probably not arguably, I would say most certainly a lot better than the original ones. We looked at them from time to time, and I always thought they looked goofy. This game gives you the option, in config if I'm not mistaken, to change the character sprites to the original. Look at this thing. Look at her hands. They're like big blobs. Yeah, and it's I found it kind of fun throughout the game to look between the original and the updated, but I do prefer the updated heavily. Kichi-kun. Good morning. If I remember right, she makes weird noises, and I'm going to avoid making weird noises if possible throughout the series. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. I don't know why I struggled with that. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Kichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust without looking back. Why are you so mean? Why? Rena had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding. I'd wait for you. With those words, Rena seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Thank you. I'd wait forever until you came, Rena. No matter how long. Forever? Rena turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Rena? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered that she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh, yeah, a message from Mom. She says, thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine just to be honest and say they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who picked them, Rena? Or was it your mom? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Rena? Or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. She counted frantically in her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Rena never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Rena. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just keeps spacing out otherwise, I called Rena back to reality so we can make her way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl. Is Rena... Ryugu? I think. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Mi-chan, good morning. Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. And here's another one. We're gonna do this periodically just because I wanna see all of the arts. Oh, they're so big. Look at their hands. They're like big marshmallows. Oh, that's pretty good. Finally, you two are late. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Rena, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Rena. And it's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off for 2 days. Ah ha 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 ha! You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze stared at my chest, then dropped straight down, focusing on the point between my legs. So, she was saying it was my crotch that was cuter back then. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. Okay, being so engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the little guy get a breath of fresh morning air? I don't think I've ever heard talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my fly, Rena began to ramble in a near panic. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red-faced and flustered, Rena tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it? Seeing the city again. Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting the pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral. I didn't have much time. So, yeah, did you look for it? That thing I asked for. You're not listening at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games again, Mi-chan? Mion nodded proudly as Rena giggled. Yep, I wanted Kei-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see. Westport was short for Western Imported Games. Using that abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, Guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time, I'd like a game that's easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a lot of different ones. According to Rena, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. If there's a game you think I'd understand, let me play too. Of course. If Ki-chan is up for it, I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa. Then we'll let you in the group this time, I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Rena looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Rena laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I'd moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. I felt like if I acted a bit more openly than I usually am, it should probably be about right for this place. We don't like outsiders around these parts.